Hello, and welcome to our presentation for Carson Watershed Subconservancy District's Watershed Wednesdays. My name is Carlo Luri, and I'll be speaking today about non-motorized recreation in the Carson Valley, specifically the story of the Carson Valley Trails Association and our vision of communities connected to nature through a system of trails. But first, a little bit about me. I wear a lot of hats, but my favorite one is Trails Champion. What does it mean to be a Trails Champion? Very few trail users contemplate how trails come to be in a community. They've always just been there, right? As you will see in our presentation, there is a lot more to building trails than just digging in the dirt. I learned this soon after moving to the Carson Valley when I came across then board president Kirsten Woolley while out hiking one day. Since I was out using the trails, it was only reasonable to her that I should get involved in the Trails Association. Before I knew it, I was on the fast track to becoming president of CVTA, and here I am 12 years later, still on the board and advocating for trails. Each area has one or more champions that focus on the assets in their own communities. However, once per year, the various trail advocates, agency partners, and stakeholders in the Eastern Sierra Trail Coalition get together to discuss connectivity and the big picture. For us, the Holy Grail is about connecting to adjacent communities with trails. Some hardy souls will use these trails for long-distance journeys, but many more people will enjoy exploring these connections on day trips to neighboring communities. I enjoy hiking and backpacking, and have also been on a horse once or twice, but it's no secret that my favorite mode of mountain travel is on two wheels. I am the bike advocate for the Alta Alpina Cycling Club and coach middle and high school students in cross-country mountain biking. Really, anything that gets me outdoors and doesn't involve a ball or a motor is fine with me. Like many others, I have a day job which allows me to live in this beautiful corner of the planet. I work for the Bentley family, a major landowner in the valley, and manage government affairs for the Bentley Heritage Estate Distillery in downtown Minden. The benefits of having a developed network of trails in a community may seem obvious to those of us passionate about outdoor recreation. But how do we communicate that to others who may not be as passionate as we are? There have been many studies that attempt to quantify the value of trails. While calculating return on investment is not what we do, we know on an intimate level the benefits that trails can offer. First, we know that an active lifestyle is key to both physical and mental well-being. Local trails are an easy and inexpensive way to get our steps in and unplug from the pressures of everyday life. We saw this firsthand with the recent boom in outdoor recreation during the pandemic. Trailheads have been full and bike shops can't seem to keep inventory in stock. Second, trails drive tourism, especially visitors who are attracted to the stunning natural beauty of our environment. While in most cases, access to outdoor recreation is free, those visitors support hotels and other local businesses while contributing to our tax base. A properly designed trail can help protect the natural environment by concentrating backcountry use to a designated path and keeping traffic off of cultural or environmentally sensitive areas. Well-designed trails will shed water and not create runoff or erosion. Often, when building new trails, we will try to decommission old roads or social trails that were built before people were aware of these ecological issues. Finally, trails build community. In our area, we have many trails that connect us to our rich history, such as the Pony Express, a National Historic Trail. Interpretive signs, such as those found on the Fay Luther Trail, do double duty as an educational resource. Homes that are located near developed trails are more desirable. Just look at the homes being sold in the Clear Creek Tahoe development. Of course, we face challenges. The biggest one is the public mindset. While there is broad support for trails in our community, when it comes to allocating local tax dollars to trail infrastructure or maintenance, other priorities such as roads and flood mitigation often take precedence. I call this the nice to have versus necessity mindset. Here in Nevada, people are protective of their private lands. Obtaining trail easements is not always easy and often requires a nudge from the county or some financial incentive such as conditioning a conservation easement by requiring public access. Working with land managers is not always easy. Even though over 80% of Nevada is managed by the federal government, their local offices are often understaffed. Outdoor recreation projects are not always their first priority. When it comes down to building trails, volunteers are often our scarcest resource. Trail building is hard work, and many activities compete for our time these days. While the pandemic has manifested itself as a boom for outdoor recreation, more people on a finite resource can often lead to user conflicts. This is especially true during weekends at popular trailheads. The following is a brief overview of our organization. The Carson Valley Trails Association is a 501c3 nonprofit currently managed by 14 board members. The organization has been active since the late 90s when a group of concerned citizens got together to discuss public lands access. We have no paid staff and engage with volunteers on trail building and trail maintenance. To date, we have completed 55 miles of trails over 5 different trail networks, raised over $500,000 for trail projects, and put in over 30,000 volunteer hours. We estimate close to 100,000 users enjoy our trails every year. By now, you might be asking, how hard is it to build trail? These are just some of the activities that the Carson Valley Trails Association participates in. Securing public support, grants, and financial contributions, lots and lots of planning, and negotiating for easements when those opportunities come along. Before a shovel hits the dirt on public lands, there are a number of impact studies that have to be commissioned and paid for. Impact on sensitive cultural sites, plants, and other wildlife must be mitigated before permission for construction is granted. Even after the build is complete, our job is not done. Every year, trails require ongoing maintenance from erosion damage and deadfall. Even cleaning up dog waste left behind by some of our less conscientious trail users is an ongoing task. Hey, there is no poop fairy. Trail building is much more than digging in the dirt. So by now, you have an idea of what it really takes to develop a local trail network. Collaboration with dozens of private organizations, landowners, state and local government entities, of course money, volunteers, and lots of patience. I know you want to hear about our beautiful trails, so here it is, a tale of 3 trails that can be found here in the Carson Valley. This is the story of the Fay Luther, our first trails project. During the 1990s, locals noticed that many old roads that led into the Carson Range for recreation were becoming blocked off by new homes and proposed housing developments. So over 25 years ago, a small group formed the Carson Valley Access Community with the vision of preserving public access wherever possible, with their primary focus on the west side of the Carson Valley. Soon after, they partnered with the American Land Conservancy to purchase about 2 acres from a willing landowner to build the Fay Luther Trailhead. The trailhead was deeded to the U.S. Forest Service, and the Carson Valley Trails Association was born. Over time, public use of the Fay Luther Trailhead grew steadily. In 2006, the Carson Valley Trails Association constructed the Jones Peak Ranch Trail and Trailhead within a Douglas County trails easement negotiated with the developer. Around the same time, the Bureau of Land Management completed an environmental assessment for an expansion of the trail system from the Fay Luther Trailhead. Soon, the trail system took shape with the Interpretive Loop and the Valley View Loop. The 2 trailheads were connected in 2008, and the entire trail was named the Fay Luther Jones Peak Ranch Trail. In 2009, trail signs and maps were installed, and the trail system became the first formally recognized trail system in the Carson Valley. Later, interpretive signs were added to the trails, highlighting the local history, geology, and natural features of the area. The Clear Creek Trail is one of the more popular trails in our network, connecting the Tahoe Basin, Carson Valley, and hopefully one day to the trails to our north in Carson City. In 2003, the Clear Creek Tahoe development was approved by Douglas County. As part of this residential project, Douglas County required a public access trail easement on a portion of the property adjacent to public land. The county, working in partnership with the Carson Valley Trails Association, negotiated the easement corridor along the southern property line, which borders U.S. Forest Service lands at each end. This offered the potential of connecting the upper portion of Old Clear Creek Road with the new Clear Creek Trail south, connecting east into the Jacks Valley area on public and private land. In 2013, nearly all of the 10.5-mile trail was built through a grant from the Nevada Recreational Trails Program. Approximately half of the trail was built by youth members with the Nevada Conservation Corps, a program operated through the Great Basin Institute. The other half of the trail was built by volunteers, along with several local and regional partners. About 500 different individuals totaling 4,000 volunteer hours helped build the Clear Creek Trail. In 2018, the trail was extended west to connect with the Tahoe Rim Trail at Spooner Summit, expanding the trail system to approximately 17 miles. The Pinyon Trail was completed in 2015. It was a departure for the Carson Valley Trails Association in that it was the first trail built in the high desert topography of the Pine Nut Range. It is a hand-constructed single track open to hikers, mountain bikers, and equestrians on an area of public lands that sees heavy motorized use. Trail design and signage discourages OHV use on this non-motorized trail. From the trailhead, the trail gently climbs just over a mile to a trail junction. At this junction, trail users can go in either direction on the 3-mile loop portion of the trail. The return trip back to the trailhead from the junction results in a round-trip trail distance of about 5.2 miles. The trail wraps around a large hill with continuous views of the Pine Nut and Carson ranges. Nevada's state tree, the single-leaf pinyon pine, grows throughout the trail system along with Utah junipers. The trail elevation ranges from about 5,700 feet to just over 6,000 feet and has a gentle grade of about 5%. Of course, a trail builder's work is never done, so here is a preview of some of the exciting projects we're working on. In the planning stages is an extension of the Clear Creek Trail network south of Jacks Valley Road, connecting to James Lee Park and a new trailhead accessible off of US 395 in Indian Hills. This will add another 10 miles to the Clear Creek with lower elevation trails that are accessible year-round. We are also looking at expanding the Fay Luther Trail to better accommodate our equestrian users and possibly adding a whole new non-motorized loop in the East Valley. One of the more important projects we will be contributing to is the revision of the Douglas County Trails Plan. The plan was written in 2003 and is in dire need to be brought up to date. Douglas County has the potential to develop several urban trails which will facilitate active transportation between residential communities. One such example is the Martin Slough Trail, which will connect Jake's Wetland in Minden to Gilman Ponds in Gardnerville along the historic Martin Slough. Groundbreaking for this trail is anticipated in 2021. Thank you for watching this presentation. I look forward to answering your questions during our live Zoom Q&A session.